The following video was captured by a man called Paul, who had absolutely no belief in anything from the paranormal world. The mere mention of spirits made him laugh in the face of whoever spoke the word, and the shock that would come to him if he actually came across one would be indescribable. In the video that I am about to show you, Paul was in his house doing some maintenance jobs that his wife set whilst she was out working when all of a sudden, a dark and eerie feeling swarmed the room, which gave him the instinct to press record, and this is what was caught.
En el televisor solo.
Los exteriores de Chile finalmente redundan en la gestión y administración del territorio.
Strangely, the television was turned on by itself, but this is only one of the things that happened. This wasn't just a paranormal incident in isolation, it was many combined. The bell tower started chiming, as if a force had acted upon it, but we can clearly see that nothing has. Furthermore, it throws bottles, and something even hits the feet of Paul towards the end of this video. Paul did not believe in the paranormal world one bit before this video. But after it, saying he was questioning his feelings would be an understatement. In July of 2018, a family in New Orleans were sitting down together, watching some television, when the youngest child noticed something very strange. They pointed at the cabinets beneath the TV and claimed that they were moving by themselves, so the parents paused the television to take a look. For roughly a minute, nothing happened, and they were debating putting the television back on, as they were quite enjoying their show. However, moments later, this happened, and it kept them glued to their seats, and not to mention their mouths glued closed.
Okay, guys, we're in our room, and, you know, things are a little strange. So, I'm gonna see if I can, see what's going on and see if we can get somebody to respond. So if you're in here, please let us know. Okay, I know y'all see that, right? Nobody's touching nothing. Yeah, spooky.
It was very fortunate that the father decided to take his phone out to record this incident, because the child was correct and the cabinet moved on its own accord. We could clearly see inside of the cabinet as it was moving, and nothing was seen inside, meaning that whatever caused this must have been invisible. The kid says that it was most definitely a ghost, but the parents just can't teach themselves to buy into that opinion. I'm keen to see what you think in the comments. What would you do if random objects started moving inside of your house without any human interaction? My prediction is that you would run away and shout, because I know for certain that would be my reaction. Well, the man in the following video handled it much differently. His name is Sam, and throughout his life he always felt as if someone or something was watching him. These feelings became so bad that he even had to go and seek therapy for it to see if any past traumas could be triggering it. But little did anybody know what was actually behind the feeling.
Hay algo. Ay, ¿qué pido? No mames, ¿qué pido? Se está moviendo el banquito solo. No mames. ¡Ah, su puta madre!
A ghost must have been behind it all along. Unlike most people who cower in the face of paranormal activity, Sam was cool and collected here, acting as a good example for how to behave. However, it makes no sense why he would be this way. For a first time, experience the reaction was way too chill and laid back, with many speculating it was because this was fake. Hold on though, because it wasn't. Perhaps over the years, Sam was starting to think that the feelings came from a spirit, so when it actually decided to haunt him, it came as no surprise. The truth is that there are no real answers out there, and it is up for interpretation. A bedroom is meant to be a safe space for people to go to when they want to drown out all of the noise from the world. And in the clip that I am going to show you shortly, Hannah was using it for this exact reason. She had experienced a horrible day at college, and when she came home, the only thing that she truly desired was her bed. But she had no idea that something was going to step in her way. The time was 11 p.m., and Hannah was still on her mobile phone, scrolling through social media in order to forget about the day, but she was beginning to consider going to sleep. Just as she came to the decision to rest though, this happened.
Yo, what the heck?
Somehow, the sound of knocking could be heard on the other side of the door, and it was a repetitive knock that supposedly lasted 2 minutes. Hannah didn't think to record for the majority of the situation, but we are lucky she came to that choice eventually. After catching the knocking on camera, Hannah knew that she needed to prove its authenticity in order to post it online, so searched the bathroom that the knocking came from. To absolutely nobody's surprise, it was empty. One of the most prominent places to become haunted in a house is the basement, and the only place in contention is the attic. The basement is where all of the dodgy things happen because it is tucked away and hidden from the rest of civilization. In our next clip, a mother of two was doing some cleaning around the house when she started to hear a weird noise coming from down in the basement. She was too frightened to go and check without company, so called to her daughter for aid, who agreed to go down there with her. Fortunately, nothing dangerous was on the other side of the door, but something weird definitely was.
And this is my basement. Summer. Tell me it's in the same box as Chucky right now.
Yeah, it's right there.
What?
Yeah, it's in there.
Right, but it hasn't been touched, and all of a sudden, after all of these months, and it's off.
After taking a moment to actually identify where the sounds were coming from, they found out it was in a Christmas box, and the noise was a Santa toy. Curious to see how it had turned itself on, the mother reached into the box and pulled it out, revealing the most frightening part of this story. The switch was off. No matter how many experts have tried to debunk this video, none of them have been able to and haven't recorded an explanation for the Santa incident. The mother is currently contacting ghost hunters to see if they can be of any aid. Sarah first started doing real estate 3 years before this next video was taken, and in all of those years, she has never experienced anything like this. Roughly 1 year into her real estate adventure, she purchased a property for people to rent in order to achieve consistent income, but little did she know that this would be a poor purchase. Over the course of 1 year, 15 people broke the contract of the property and left. So now the government forced her to inspect the place and send footage to them to prove that it was a safe environment to live in. This is what she ended up submitting. Have a look.
Esta casa se ha limpiado muchísimas veces porque la gente no dura rentando. Rompe el contrato por una u otra cosa y tuvimos que venirla a limpiar el día de hoy porque ya mañana se van a mover. Se las quiero enseñar. Lo raro es que dice el realtor que no dura la gente. Esta casa se ha limpiado muchísimas veces porque rompe el contrato a la gente. Ay, no mames. Ya es noche. Estoy sola. Chingados, está ahí. No hay nada. Esta pinche casa la han rentado un chingo de veces y no sé por qué rompe el contrato la gente. Ay, no, déjenme regresar así porque me dio cosas a la pinche puerta. Y dicen los señores que rentan aquí que miran demasiadas cosas. La gente no dura viviendo aquí. Rompe el contrato, así que vamos a grabar un poquito para allá. Ese pinche cuarto ahí, no sé qué fregados es. Ya las muchachas me están esperando allá afuera. Miren, allá me da cosa. Tengo que prender la luz. Ahorita voy a ir a prender la luz para seguir grabando. ¿Te imaginas? Para que la gente rompa el contrato acá es porque de plano no aguantan a vivir aquí. Y ahorita les voy a enseñar lo demás para allá. Déjenme prender la luz. ¿Dónde está la luz acá? Chingada madre. Ahí está. Ok, ahorita les voy a enseñar. Esta es una recámara. Se está poniendo ahorita tenso. Entonces, el Señor dice que ya van varias familias que rompen el contrato. No sé qué es lo que pasó aquí. Nunca me ha dicho el realtor qué es lo que... Chingados, que... Nunca me ha dicho el realtor qué es lo que realmente ha pasado, pero sí la hemos limpiado varias veces porque no dura la gente. Y eso sí, la verdad es algo extraño que no dure nadie. Yo no sé si tú has vivido en una casa así, donde te hayas tenido que haber salido por algo o roto el contrato. Ahorita les voy a enseñar qué es eso que se escucha. ¡Ey! ¿Andan acá? A dejar grabando, pero la neta ya me está dando cosa. Se escucha el ruido para acá. No sé qué sea. Escuché mucho ruido. Yo creo que me voy a tener que ir. No se Tengo que ir a apagar la luz de ella porque se está poniendo ya. Ay, no. Creo que voy a regresar mañana mejor. Yo me voy a la chica. Esa pinche luz, la de acá la tengo que apagar.
It seems that the reason so many people decided to break the renting contract and leave the house early is because it was haunted, which is very reasonable. Sarah realized she had a huge problem on her hands because nobody was going to move in now, and she would be forced to lower the rent. In one last desperate attempt to keep rent high, though she is currently in contact with a ghost hunter to come and cleanse the place. But since her motivation is profit, she will be charged a high amount. In the following video, a man was staying at his father's house because he had received tragic news. He would be sent into hospital 3 days from the time of recording due to a disease that proved fatal later down the line. At the time though, the man had no idea of the outcome. The time was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and the father went to the local shop to get some food for them both to eat later on. The son was used to waiting around in this priopat since it hadn't changed since all the way back when he was a child, making it a nostalgic place. However, something was different. He just couldn't pin what. It was some sort of feeling swarming his body to leave the place, but he knew he shouldn't. It was literally his father's place of residence. The poor bloke lived to regret this decision.
Estoy acá en la casa de mi hijo, acá el campo. Bueno, acá se ve un patio, pero es todo campo. Y me senté 2 segundos acá y... ¿Lo ven? ¿Lo ven ahí? Hace unos segundos se está asomando algo y... Yo veo... ¿Ven? ¿Lo ven? ¿Se ve? ¿Ven? Mira. ¡Ey! ¡Ey! Concha de la lora. No veo nada, la puta de re mi parió. Madre. Me doy vuelta todo alrededor, no hay nada, En la casa estaba abandonada porque dejamos todas las cosas ahí, pero... Se escucha algo. Uy, concha de la lora. No, estoy re loco. Bueno, si vieron algo, me dicen en los comentarios. No se puede creer.
Out of nowhere, an apparition came into view, and what made it ever more horrifying was that nobody was actually there. It was either a figment of his imagination or a ghost, but after checking back on the camera footage, he knew this was as real as it gets. Ian, also known as the Midwest Ghost Hunter, is the most known person on this channel, and if you have ever watched one of my videos, you will know why. His profession is recording ghostly videos in some of the most haunted places that Midwest America has to offer, and this definitely comes with frights. His videos last up to 2 hours long, meaning they are perfect to include in my videos, and the one that you are about to be exposed to took place in an abandoned asylum, and he was alone. Take a look.
That wind is absolutely nuts tonight. This place is absolutely nuts. I'm not even halfway through this place, and that tells me I'm in for a long night. Doris, are you in here? I know we spoke earlier. I'm down in your kitchen now. Whoa. What was that? It almost looked like a ray of light over here. Doris, was that you I just seen? Hello? Whoa. I just seen it over here now. It's like a yellowish glow. Thank you for showing yourself, Doris. Ooh, it's that fan again. Are you cooking something? What are you cooking? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. I'm starting to lose it. I just heard, it sounded like humming, almost. Doris, was that you? There it is again. That same glow. It was just in that cooler. That walk-in cooler right there. Are you in this cooler? Hello?
The most frightening part of this interaction was the ghostly glow by far, because it almost confirmed to Ian that it was present. Furthermore, it started humming, so this spirit must have wanted to be seen. Who knows the reasons why? Subscribe for more clips of Ian. Basements can be useful in all sorts of different ways, and I seriously question how some families let them pass by without using them. Roy, the man who owned the basement in the following video, used it as a storage unit for all sorts of things, and it really did help him store way more items in his house than he would be able to. Every day he would come in and out of the basement using items and placing them back, but one day he heard some banging from down there. He called his wife's name, assuming that she was searching for something, but when he failed to hear a response, he knew that something was up and approached the basement. Once he reached the bottom of the stairs, he realized that nobody was in there, and nothing evident was on the floor that could cause such a sound. Roy stood still for a few moments, questioning what the noise really was, but eventually decided to turn around and go back up the stairs. It was at this moment that the banging sound recurred, and the wooden horse started to rock on its own accord. Out of fear, Roy ran back up the stairs, and when his wife arrived home, she was informed about the incident. They both agreed that it was strange and something must have been wrong, but came to the conclusion that they should not take any action and just hope it was a one-time thing. To their dismay, the very next day Roy heard knocking from the garage this time and knew he needed to investigate once again. As he predicted, the same thing happened again. He gave in and followed the sounds, and when he did, he witnessed an item moving on its own accord. Roy and his wife are currently in contact with several ghost hunters over banishing the ghost, and all we can do is sit back and hope they successfully make their house pure of evil again. The following series of videos was captured by a child who was home alone, and it is always sad to see people under 18 fall victim to ghostly activities. Seeing an innocent adult suffer is frightening enough, but when a poltergeist takes it upon itself to target children, it takes things way too far. And whilst the kid in his saga was 14, that is still young nonetheless. The first clip took place when the teenage boy heard some knocking noises around the house. They eventually led him to the bathroom, and the rest is as shown. But before I play the clip, it is important for you to know that your paranormal clips can be included in one of my future videos. All that you have to do is email hauntedofficial@gmail.com a description of what happened alongside the attached clips, and I will give you a guaranteed feature in one of my videos. Anyway, here is the clip.
Oh! What was that? What was that? It's in the bathroom. Something came from the bathroom. What was that? What was that? Something came from over here. Let me see if I can match the sound with anything. No. That was it. Someone banged on my keys. Someone banged on my keys. The chair! The chair is moving. Gotta stay inside. The chair moved.
The spirit started to bash the keyboard located on the desk of the teenager, and he was intelligent enough to work out what it was doing. However, shortly after he drew this conclusion, the chair behind the desk moved without any human interaction. This was not all that happened, though. Have a watch.
This is not fake. I'm home alone, and all this stuff is happening to... Did you see that? The refrigerator door opened. The refrigerator door opened. The door just closed. Oh my. What's that? Okay. Gotta get up. Man, I was kind of pushed there.
This time, the poltergeist decided to mess with doors and opened the refrigerator and also closed a random door. This was spooky for obvious reasons, and the poor boy was in audible shock. He was debating leaving the house, but out of fear that his parents would be angry, he decided not to. This turned out to be one of his decisions on the dumber side of things.
What was that? The door. I don't know what that was. I'm not gonna go look in there. Oh, it's cold. Something must have touched it. What was that? Oh, it's cold. Let me just... Oh. Okay. Nobody's here. What was that? Whoa! I think he locked me in. He locked me in. Help! 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 He locked me in. He locked me in. Help!
Fortunately, the boy was able to escape the room, but it was likely that the poltergeist allowed him to. It was obvious that this spirit was more powerful compared to others than we have seen on this channel, and the footage was sent to an exorcist who came over without any delay. All you need to know is that the house is now cleansed, and this story has a good ending. Movies are a great pastime, and Josh Ribillard believed in this heavily. Unlike most men, he didn't turn to the world of video games when boredom overcame him and opened up Netflix instead. And this is exactly what he was up to just before he filmed the clip that I am about to expose you to. He was browsing on the homepage looking for an interesting film to watch when all of a sudden, his son's wooden horse started to rock without anybody being mounted upon it. Unfortunately, he did not catch it on video, but took out his camera in case it happened on a second instance as he wanted proof. This is what he managed to capture.
Okay, so I just came down here to go watch a movie, and I swear that thing was moving again. Maybe it was just me, but it definitely seemed like it was starting to move or about to move. Yeah, there it goes again. I don't even know what to do at this point. This is not even mine, it's my nephew's. They just left it here. This happened yesterday too, but I didn't record it. It'll start, then stop, start, then stop. See, and start again. Great.
The horse rocked back and forward as if somebody was on it, but it was beyond evident that nobody was. Furthermore, it was clear that there were no strings attached to the horse, and it was doing this seemingly by itself. But we all know what that means, because of course, wood cannot move. A spirit must have been having some fun with it, presumably a child. Winston was a construction worker, and he really enjoyed his job. The pay was fabulous considering he had fun whilst he was on shift, so it was literally perfect for him. But despite all of this, what you are about to see was so bad that it almost made him quit. It took place in an abandoned restaurant that a new company had purchased the land of and wanted it renovated. They contacted the company that Winston worked for to do the job, and they were there within 2 days, however. They would have charged a much higher price if they knew just how haunted it actually was.
The kitchen, like the kitchen area.
It is. They're real quiet about it.
I will not go down there.
Oh, it's cold right here. It's the other way. Hello? I'm not going up there. Definitely not going back there. Oh wow, it is really cold right here. What was that? No. I don't think it's happy we're here. Oh no, dude. Oh, holy. Dude, there's...
A mysterious figure was sitting in the corner of this room, and before you call it a coincidental light casting, it was obviously far from that. When Winston entered the room, the shadow vanished, and furthermore he felt a cold and dark feeling in the room, which is a telltale sign of a spiritual presence. I don't know what you think, but I am certain that this was a paranormal encounter. Nothing really went on in Newtown, Sydney, and it was seen as a rather chill area at the time that the upcoming clip was filmed. The niche area that it happened in had not become host to many crimes at all over the past 2 years, and was a really safe place for families to live. Hence why Joey and her children decided to move there when the man of the house left them to fend for themselves. One night, Joey decided to go clubbing with her friends, and she got a little bit carried away with herself, so ended up setting off home at 3 o'clock in the morning. Her drunken state caused her to think that she was hallucinating the whole situation, but due to her trusted camera, she managed to confirm that this was not the case.
I don't know if you can hear that, but there's like a banging. Oh no.
At first, whilst the footsteps were coming from behind the fence, she thought that there was a real person in her pursuit, and being a lady at 3 a.m. without any other people around, that would not be a good situation to be in. However, moments later she heard the footsteps right beside her and quickly turned her freeze response into a flight response and went as quickly as she could. Despite being drunk, she was able to escape the situation and make it back home in one piece. But the next day, she decided to do something very dangerous. Joey took her car back to the same location at 3 a.m. once again, in order to investigate what had happened with her full conscience and ability to quickly get out of there. It is safe to say that she would not survive a horror movie, but here is the clip.
I don't think I should go in there. Holy fuck.
The ground literally shook, and it sounded like some sort of humongous creature had leapt from the tree that was shaking vigorously. The strange thing was that she did not see anything, and based on the pure volume of the sound, it should have definitely come with a visual being. Regardless of what it was, Joey quickly got back into her car and made sure she never came across this area at such a late time again. Make sure to put what you think the source of this noise was down below, but in my personal opinion, there is only one answer: a poltergeist causing fear. The award for the most featured man in Haunter videos has to go to Ian, also known as the Midwest Ghost Hunter, and this is because of the sheer amount of videos that he managed to upload to his YouTube channel. They are all packed with haunting incidents, and this one was no different. It took place in a haunted asylum that he decided to venture into all by himself, and the following video occurred shortly into the exploration.
All right, we are locked in the Randolph County Asylum. I'm not gonna lie, I've got a bad feeling about this place. Not because there's anything evil, but just all the dark history and just the countless amount of spirits here and activity. It's like I'm in this vast abyss, all alone. But I'm gonna do what I always do. I'm gonna ghost hunt, and I ain't gonna run, no matter what. Oh, whoa. Jesus Christ. That almost looked like a doppelganger. She's wearing the same clothes I'm wearing. If there's any spirits in this hospital, could you give me a sign of your presence? Gotta find my flashlight. Holy shit. There is a wicked windstorm going on right now, and I am sure that'll only add to the paranormal activity tonight. Hello? If there's anyone here, could you give me a sign? I'm gonna try to take some photos. I'm catching a lot of orbs floating around in here. Are there spirits in this room right now? Is that what I'm seeing?
This clip showed his entrance into the asylum, and it is rare that you can capture Ian so terrified at such a short time into his adventures. You could tell that he truly sensed that something else was inside of the place with him, and this was confirmed with the fact he managed to catch some ghostly orbs on camera. Of course though, Ian's videos include a lot of clips, and this is only the beginning, with one more being showcased in this particular video. Take a look.
There's more orbs over here. Where are you right now? Could you show yourself? Whoa. Something just hit the floor. What the heck is that? Did you just throw this? Or did it just fall? What is that? It's like a gourd of some sort. Where did this thing come from? Right there. Whoa. Dude, there's like a whole dish of the things. And look at that. There is no way that just fell. There is definitely no way. I mean, look at the distance it would have had to have gone. I mean, I know I've been walking around and like this floor, it's a little shaky. So, I mean, that is possible that maybe me walking caused it to fall. I don't know, that is strange. It's just the distance it fell that's throwing me off. Put it back in here. If you just threw one of those gourds, could you move?
Some form of food was launched from the bowl, and it made a thud sound, which is what allowed Ian to notice what had happened. Thus could not have been a natural collapse, because there was no presence of wind in the room, and without that the food could not have landed so far away. Subscribe to my channel so that you do not miss future videos, because this is only the beginning of a long exploration for Ian, and I am sure that you will be seeing clips from him in almost every video. A trio of siblings were all in their parents' room when they swore they witnessed a chair rocking without any human interaction. It was as if someone or something was sitting inside of it, causing the phenomenon to happen. But due to the clear view of the front and back of the chair, it was obvious that nothing visible actually caused this. That beckons the question though, what did? And I think we all know the true answer, but I'll let you have a watch beforehand.
Okay, I'm here with my cousin Braden, my cousin Benton, and my brother Karsten. And this is our parents' bedroom. And we've been catching this rocking chair moving by itself, and nobody believes us. But we're all here home alone, and we're going to see if we can catch it now. Somebody want to ask it to move?
Move.
I will. Please, sir or ma'am, please move the chair if you can. Or male or female, move. I'm scared. Me too.
Probably ain't gonna do it with us sitting here.
Oh, I'm so scared, cousin. Why does the trash, cousin?
Is it moving a little bit?
Oh my gosh. It is. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my. Oh. Oh. Man, that's so creepy. Why do we have to stand here? Huh?
Wait, hold on, wait. Somebody go see if somebody's behind there.
I will. Let's go. Why do we have to do this? Oh, no one's behind there. Oh,
Let me see. Let me get it on camera.
Oh, gosh.
Look, it is moving. And nobody's back there.
I'm so scared.
And plus, you can see in the mirror. Nobody's standing behind there while it's moving.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's slowing down now. Is it gonna do it anymore for us? Nope. Stop. So there we go. We got it on camera.
It was evident that a spirit caused this from the fact alone of the chair moving after the siblings asked it to. They were all frightened by this, but due to being a trio, they were able to feel much less fear than usual in such a circumstance, and luckily caught it on camera. They sent the video to their mother and uploaded it to YouTube to see what they should do next, but the vast majority of people online didn't believe them, so offered no aid. If you have any advice for these kids, then leave it in the comments so that if they come across the video, they can get the help that they deserve. Ghost hunting in terms of a paid profession is something that I can get behind, because the amount of money that people get paid for their work in this industry is surreal. However, when people do this as a hobby rather than a job, things begin to feel strange. Alonzo was a ghost hunter, far different from the rest, and instead of using his love for the paranormal as a tool to make a living, he simply had fun with it. Whether it was using Ouija boards inside his own house, or exploring others and helping them out free of charge, he was happy to do it, and this is why Alonzo was seen as a bit of an outcast. Regardless though, he continued to help people in haunted trouble, and the following video comes from one of his house visits. Before I show you the video though, if you have any paranormal clips and would like me to break them down in a future video for you, then send the footage to drokumedia1@gmail.com and give me the story of what happened. Now, have a watch.
Aquí hay muchas manos, para que vean que aquí hay manos. Dime cómo te llamas. ¿Por qué estás aquí? Uy, algo le están pegando. Vean todas las manos que hay aquí. Vean todas las manos que hay aquí. Uy, ¿dónde estás? ¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué es eso? ¿Estás aquí conmigo? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¡Ay, se volteó! ¡Ay, se volteó! ¡Se volteó la cabeza! ¡Lámpara! Volteó la cabeza! Uy, no manches, la cabeza la volteó. Uy, me dio miedo. ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? Vamos a levantar esto. Mira lo feo. Manches, está llorando, amigos. Está como llorando. Vean. Está como llorando, miren. Está como llorando, miren. ¿Cómo te llamas? Si estás aquí, quiero que me digas tu nombre.
The first weird part of this video was that Alonzo's device was indicating a presence, and trying extremely hard to translate what it was trying to say, but unfortunately failed. This was not the spookiest part though. The spirit also decided to move the mannequin, and Alonzo made it very evident that there were no attachments on it. This video was the act of a ghost, but it was Alonzo. He looked back and enjoyed it. One day, James was doing the innocent activity of eating breakfast when he got a really weird and eerie feeling out of nowhere. It felt like he was being stared at deep into his soul, so he decided to do the most logical thing and look around. His head scanned the room, but was drawn to a counter, and to the surprise of James, a cup from this counter launched itself across the room as if a person had thrown it. It was after this that he started to record the incident, just in case anything else followed, and he did the right thing because it did.
Off the table. Cleaned up all the glasses you can see. But I'm home alone, and even when I'm not home alone, all this stuff seems to happen. What was that? I'm not feeling too well. You know what? Gotta calm down. I'm gonna find out what this is. Really? Really? Nobody's here. You coward. What? Wow, the lights turned off by themselves. I'm scared. What was that? Did you see that? Did you hear that? This is scary. Let me scan around. I really should call out a paranormal investigation team. Oh my gosh. It's cold. It's freezing cold. I can't touch it. It's so cold. I'm so scared. Really? Really? I can't deal with this anymore. I'm leaving.
This was a big step up from a moving cup, and all sorts of hauntings happened within a short period of time, which is referred to as a paranormal surge. The most prominent incident was when the stool collapsed to the ground on its own accord, and happened to be freezing cold in the aftermath, which anybody who knows anything about ghosts knows is a huge giveaway of a presence. James contacted a ghost hunter after this incident, and surprisingly, negotiated a low price, so they are expected to come within 2 weeks. All we can do is pray that the hunt turns out successful. Mark and Shannon were a happy couple living in a not-so-happy environment, and it was quite sad to be completely honest. They were perfect for each other and could not wait to live as one. But when they started to rent their first property, they had no clue that it was going to be haunted. Every time one of them was left alone in the house, a huge paranormal surge would happen, and luckily for you, Mark decided to record his entire evening once, just to prove to some doubters that this phenomenon was actually happening to them, and I managed to find the footage. Here you go.
Something's not right now. I don't know what it is. Something is not right, dude.
What is it? What's up there? What is it to you? My adrenaline's pumping, my heart is racing. I've already seen some fucking weird shit. God damn. Oh. Oh my God.
The spirit opened the kitchen cupboard on video, and it was obvious that no natural thing caused it to happen. Mark sent the video to all of his friends that doubted him, but to his dismay, none of them believed him and thought he was more of a weirdo for pretending and setting up a fake experience. Do you think the experience looked fake? Let me know in the comment section, but I personally think it looked authentic enough to believe. On February the 5th of 2025, Maddie was at home when something spooked her so much that she had to evacuate her house and hide in her vehicle whilst waiting for her family to come and protect her. It's important to note that before this event, she had never experienced anything paranormal, but when she noticed a shadow figure moving in her yard, she knew that it was far from a natural light casting. Here it is.
I understand this is probably going to sound insane or look like a blur to you, but I was crying. I watched this thing move across in my rearview mirror when I was driving back of my car to the front. I could see it from outside and in the mirror. It got out of my car, like staring at me, but if I looked away, I couldn't find it until it was closer. I have never felt fear like this. The hair on my arms was standing up. I was crying on the phone with my mom, waiting for my stepdad to come over because I couldn't believe this is what I really saw.
While poor Maddie was sitting in the locked car, the shadow figure continuously stared at her, and every time she looked away from it, it supposedly got closer. It was genuinely like a horror movie for her, and she even suffers from PTSD because of it. Beyond this point, she becomes scared by the most normal shadow castings and thinks that the spirit is haunting her again. There have been no verified sightings of the spirit from Maddie since, though, and we are safe to believe that the only long-lasting effect from all of this is her trauma. A tourist called Mitchell was visiting Scotland and decided that he was going to take a leisurely stroll down a nice and long road. When he reached a certain point, though, he began to hear some distinct banging, but assuming it was just a human using a hammer or something, he ignored it. As he got closer and closer to the sound, though, it intensified, and the rate in which it happened only got louder. It was when he reached an abandoned building that he realized it must have been the source. Curiously, he walked around the building to see if he could figure out what was causing the banging, and sure enough, he was successful. This is what he found.
It is a ghost.
It's just a wind.
Mate. Must be a ghost.
No, it's a wind.
No, it's a ghost.
Let's go.
There's nothing else there. What else could it be?
See? Really?
I told you it was haunted.
Now, there are several reasons why this could have been faked, but I am about to debunk them. First of all, the wind could have easily caused the door to move, but if this was the case, why would it have stopped the second another noise was made behind the door? Secondly, there could have been an animal or person behind the door barging against it, but no matter how far you zoom into the crack, absolutely no movement was visible. Everybody in their right mind knows that this place was haunted. The man who recorded the following video is actually a viewer of the channel who submitted the content to drokumedia1@gmail.com in order to be featured, and if you want something similar, then make sure to do the same. A few years ago, he made a very small YouTube channel where he would read scary stories in the location that they happened in, and it was quite a cool idea, I must say. After the event that I am about to show you though, he was forced to give up entirely and never wanted to do something of this sort ever again. It took place in Jerome, Arizona, in the Jerome Grand Hotel, and it was extremely creepy. He had just finished reading a letter from a subscriber when this happened.
Okay.
The viewer was woken up by the sound of feet running across his hotel room, and he instantly turned on his mobile phone camera, followed by his flashlight. There was a loud noise that struck fear into him, but then out of nowhere, the tap turned itself on. This had to be a spirit rather than some sort of pipe issue because the handle had physically turned, meaning something had to have moved it, and it was evident that nothing else was in the room at the time. This experience was very spooky, and all we can do is hope that they haven't experienced anything of the sort since. I won't forget to say thank you to the kind viewer who submitted this, and the email is on screen if you want your clips to be in our future videos. Zachary was a single father who cared for his child called Lucius. The two lived a happy life as he was earning a stable income and owned a very nice house. They both described the house as perfect, and the common word that they used was a safe space, which made it even worse, which makes what you are about to see far more heartbreaking. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon when Zachary heard Lucius shout his name, and with his phone on record, he went to investigate.
All right, Lucius, what happened? Tell us what happened.
The chair fell by itself.
It fell by itself when it was sitting on top of there, or what?
It just fell, but I don't know how.
Jesus, man, where's your... What the heck? What the heck? Lucius, you don't got... Lucius, it's okay!
Zachary had no idea what to expect when he went to see what was up with his son, but what we do know is that this was at the bottom of his list. The house had never hosted anything of this nature, and the fact that it decided to all of a sudden was really frightening. Furthermore, the fact that this happened to Lucius rather than his father shows that this ghost carried negative energy and had bad intentions, because choosing a young child as a victim is something that is far too unacceptable. I hope the poor kid never has to go through something like this again, and they are able to remove the entity from their house. The following video was taken by a woman called Lisa, and she knew fine well that her house was under a haunting. Things began for Lisa 2 weeks before this video was captured when she heard a singular knock at her window. 10 seconds after this knock, her room suddenly started going crazy, and it was definitely the act of a spirit. After this initial incident, she hoped that this would be the only time it happened, but every single day the knock happened again, and you guessed it, 10 seconds later, chaos was unleashed. Eventually, the conclusion was drawn by Lisa that the next time she heard a knock at the window, she would film and see what happened, with this being the recording.
We are here now to observe paranormal activities. Apparently, at the moment... Oh, there we go. It started. As you can see, the window is closed. The door is also closed, even though there is no door. And now, still, we're observing unnatural movements.
Strangely, the chair moved without any visible force interacting with it, and it is very clear that nothing was doing it. Lisa initially theorized that nothing would actually come of this recording, and the ghost would turn out to be camera shy, and was overjoyed after ending the recording. She uploaded it to social media, which is how I managed to get my hands on it, but no updates have been posted since. When you hear clattering in your kitchen, when the clock strikes midnight, it is bound to be a scary event. Not to mention that your partner is sleeping beside you, so you know it can't be them. This was the case for Nicola, the wife of Jesse, who faced this. Her and Jesse had been fast asleep for roughly 1 hour, and suddenly she was awoken by the sound of the fridge opening. After turning to her side and realizing her boyfriend was still sound asleep, she took it upon herself to check the scene with her camera in hand. Have a look.
Jesse, you left the fridge open. Holy shit. Oh my god. What's going on? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
This kitchen was clearly haunted, and Nicola would most certainly pass away in a horror film. The fact she didn't think to wake up her boyfriend in a situation that could have been a strong burglar is bizarre, but she was very brave for making the decision to go alone. A ghost was probably the best outcome here, because anything else might have punished Nicola's silly decision, but she now has the draining task of trying to remove it. The time was roughly 5 in the morning, and Dave Valkrat, someone known by the people around him as a hard worker, was still awake trying to complete a project he was working on. It was an editing task, and he was being paid a huge amount for it, so he couldn't miss out, and wanted to smash the deadline by a solid week to impress the client. Little did he know that there was an obstacle awaiting him in the form of a poltergeist. An important note to make is that Dave lived without any beings other than his 2 puppies, who were both in the room with him at the time of the recording, and he doesn't fail to make this very clear.
Estoy trabajando. Disculpen el reguero. Ahí están mis perritos durmiendo. Son las 5:23 de la mañana. Estoy trabajando. Y de... Cinco veintitrés de la mañana. 5:24 ya, para los que dicen que... Para los que dicen que ocurre nada más a las 3 de la mañana. No. Son las 5 ya de la mañana. Con 24 minutos. Ahí están mis perritos. Están durmiendo. Y lo curioso es que... Alexa, luz del cuarto blanco frío.
Muy bien.
Están escuchando. Escuchen. Son susurros. Y no hay nadie, ¿eh? No. Siempre los muestro que no hay nadie para que luego no digan, no, es que eso, qué sé yo, de tus amigos, de tus familiares o lo que sea. No hay absolutamente nadie. Allá vive mi hermana, allá abajo, pero pues ahorita todo está oscuro. Escucharon lo mismo que yo, ¿no? Escucharon lo mismo que yo. Ok. No estoy loco. Escuché como venía de por aquí. Venía de por aquí. Aquí no hay, para los que digan, no hay nada. Es una silla y lo hacemos para que los perros cuando se suban aquí así, pues a veces dejamos esta ventana abierta como ahorita. Vean, ya está amaneciendo para que vean que no es mentira. Y Dios santo. Y no se caigan si están por ahí. Otra vez apagó todo. Bueno, ahí están, mírenlos. Por eso no he hecho la cámara y nada. Ya luego lo haré. Dios mío. Bueno, una aventura más. A seguir trabajando.
Out of the blue, a voice could be heard on the other side of Dave's door, and this would frighten anyone, so you really can't blame him for becoming scared. After buckling up the courage to open the door and see if there was anything on the other side waiting for him, he did it, and to no surprise, there was nobody. For the sole purpose of making sure the viewers knew he was telling the truth, he circled the vicinity and checked every nook and cranny of the room. No evidence of a person was left behind, other than the open window of which Dave provided a good explanation for. This was definitely the act of a ghost. After drawing this conclusion once and for all, Dave resorted to something that he had never done in his life, praying to God. He was a very unreligious person, but only one being came to mind when he thought of who he could go to for help, so despite no history with religion, he prayed that nothing else would happen. To his dismay though, the prayers were not answered, and just 3 days after the initial incident, the poltergeist decided to terrorize him once again.
Son las 3:43 de la mañana. Y justo... Otra vez. Luego empiezo a sentir adrenalina. Por eso respiro así. Encendí la linterna. No hay nadie. Todo está totalmente cerrado. Ahora, los que me preguntaban, la cosa esta sale por ahí, ¿ok? Con los ojos brillosos y todo. Quiero que se den cuenta. Sale por aquí, ¿ok? Vean.
I know this is absolutely insane, but this time around, Dave was able to see the ghost in full form as it revealed itself whilst peeking around the doorway. It is unknown as to whether or not the spirit meant to get caught or not, but ghosts can go invisible in an instant, so it did likely want to be seen. The reason for this would be nothing other than an attempt to strike fear into poor Dave, and unfortunately, it worked. He is working on solving the issue, but has decided this place is not somewhere he can tolerate. New houses are being looked at, and I hope he finds one at an affordable price as much as I hope you subscribe. The next clip happened extremely late into the night, and a woman called Daria was living her usual life. She was at home with her husband and her 3-year-old daughter in a state of deep sleep, and this is when people are at their most vulnerable. The clock kept ticking until it eventually reached 3 o'clock in the morning, and just after this moment, Daria's phone started vibrating and it was a motion alert from her camera downstairs. Freaked out, but still thinking of natural conclusions, she opened the app expecting to see her pet running around the house. However, this was far from what she actually found, and not in a good way. Someone or something was peeking around that corner, and due to the front door camera not detecting anyone, it couldn't have entered the house that night. Daria and her partner both claimed that nobody was awake at this hour too, which made this event even more strange, but there's more. It is supposed that the bedroom of which Daria, her husband and their daughter were in deep sleep was on the same corridor as where the creature peeked round the corner, and if that rumor is fact, then that makes this event even more terrifying. At around 10 p.m, Heather and her family arrived home from a very nice day out. They planned this outing months ago, and the kids were very excited for it in the build-up, and now quite saddened that it had passed. When they arrived home, everyone was very tired, and Heather's husband was failing to find his keys inside of his bag. While he was searching, though something was going on in the background that only one of them were able to witness with the others, thinking they were crazy. This one person was Heather, and fortunately, her Ring doorbell camera was able to pick it up too, otherwise she would be placed in the hospital for sure, which is ironic, and you'll find out why after watching.
There's like little mosquitoes.
What kind of going on? What? What did you say? What did you say, Mommy? I can't hear you.
You gotta keep that open so it doesn't get all musty.
Can't tell me it's not good.
The family lived a mile from Bayberry Mental Hospital, and considering the attire that the spirit was wearing, experts theorize that this is where the poltergeist came from. It resembled some form of nurse, and the uniform was identified to be from the time period of the 1950s, which means that the woman must have been very old. It is rare that apparitions are seen randomly like this, and even rarer that one person out of a full family can see it. Ian, also known as the Midwest Ghost Hunter, has had more than enough introductions on this channel, but for the sake of the people who have never watched one of my videos before, I will care to explain. He is a professional ghost hunter who amasses view counts of up to 200,000 on a consistent basis, so he is paid well. In the following video, Ian is exploring an abandoned asylum and more specifically using a device to communicate with a ghost that was pushed out of a window in their former life. This is what happened.
On his window. John Oliver, are you here with me right now? Who are you? That sounded like, who are you? My name is Ian. I'm here to visit. Is that okay? Yeah. You just said yeah. John, is it true what happened to you? Is it true that you fell from this window? No, you were pushed. I couldn't tell what it just said right there. Who did it? What are the names of the people who pushed you? What did that say? It sounded like two men. Are you saying that 2 men pushed you out of this window? I am so sorry that happened to you. Why did they push you, John? Do you have any idea? I had trouble making out what that said right there. He's definitely responding though. Very clearly too. John, I hear that people hear you whistle. Could you whistle through the spirit box? Whistle a tune, if you like. Sounded like you said no there. That's totally fine, John. You can do whatever you want. I'm just here to keep you company. What did I say? It just said like, watch your back or something. Don't stay. Don't stay here. Or don't stay in this hospital. You just said get out now. Oh my God. All right, John. I'll leave you alone, okay? Whoa, whoa. Holy shit, dude. What the hell was that? Dude, he just pounded on the window. Oh my God, that was loud. All right, John. I'm gonna leave you alone, all right? Thank you for talking. Whoa, dude. Did he just bang on that window? It was kind of hard to hear over the spirit box, but I freaking heard something loud. It definitely sounded...
Just as the spirit said, go, it tapped on the glass of the outside window, which frightened Ian enough to finally leave the room. It was fitting that the ghost chose the window of all things to play its tricks on, because that is the very window that marked its location of death, which must have been pretty weird to sit in the mind of Ian. After this incident, he analyzed the situation and decided to carry on with the exploration of this place because he knew he didn't have enough clips yet. This is why he gets so many views, because his drive to perceiver beats all other ghost hunters. To see more of the clips, make sure to subscribe so you can see them in the next video. In the following video, a young teenager by the name of Miguel was staying at his auntie's house with his parents and cousin due to her passing away recently. They were sent to help empty and clear the house, which was a controversial decision in itself because they were very close with her. As a reward for coming down to help out, Miguel's cousin had been given a brand new cell phone that had been passed down from his auntie. Him and Miguel decided to test out the camera quality on this device by walking around, and it was here that they came across something terrifying.
Ooh.
A ver, yo creo que acá uno juega muchas cosas como compite, pero algo que uno nunca puede poner en la palestra a la hora de competir es la salud de uno, que a la larga en un futuro jugarse la vida. Yo creo que hay que saber cuándo parar y la verdad doy gracias a Juanito. ¡Chucha! Paramédico. Paramédico Juanito.
Out of seemingly nowhere, the cupboard door flew open and it had a lot of significance to their auntie. It was her most used cupboard, and she stored things such as her slippers, toiletries, and more importantly, her memory box inside of it. With this information in hand, experts have deciphered that this spirit was the spirit of their auntie, reminding them that she was still present, despite that presence being spiritual. I doubt the house will sell for much with this information though, which is unfortunate. Hassan was in his bathroom doing a task as simple as brushing his teeth when he noticed that something was off about the place. He explained that a cold and disturbing feeling surrounded the air out of nowhere, and that it was almost as if something else had entered the bathroom with him. This triggered Hassan's natural instincts, and he knew that something was going to happen, so dropped his toothbrush and pulled out his phone, opening the camera app. Did anything actually happen? Well, you'll have to take a look and see.
Se escuchó un ruido aquí en esta parte de la cocina, pero... ¡Ah, caray! ¿Qué fue eso? No manches. ¿Se movió el vaso? ¿O es mi imaginación? Ay, pensé que era mi imaginación. Ah, caray, caray. Qué raro. Yo creo que mejor me voy. Lentes. ¿Qué es eso?
Strangely, the item below the sink started moving without any human interaction, and furthermore, it was beyond evident that there were no strings or anything of that sort attached. After the incident, Hassan stopped the recording and wondered what he should actually do about it. He came to the conclusion that putting the item in the trash would be the best way forward, and so he did it, never seeing the item again. And fortunately, his wishes followed. From this point forwards, Hassan's life was spirit-free. Paranormal activity becomes ever more upsetting when you realize that the majority of the time, the victims are completely and utterly undeserving of the torment. What makes it even worse is when the innocent victim is a child, because they are way too young to be exposed and frightened to such an extent. The following video was filmed by an 11-year-old girl who noticed things moving downstairs. She decided to use her new phone to record what was happening and was frighteningly shouting at her mother to come and aid her due to being overwhelmed with fear. Clearly, the camera aggravated the spirit more though, because this happened.
Mamá, venga, se está moviendo la silla. Mamá. Mamá, venga. Mamá. Mamá. Mamá.
First of all, the chair started rocking, but that was happening beforehand, meaning that it didn't have any correlation to the fact the girl was recording the incident. After recording though, the little car moved on its own accord, followed by a few other things which would have terrified me, let alone a child of such a young age. The video that I am about to expose you to is one of, if not the most mysterious clips on my entire channel. This is because no matter how deep I have attempted to dig, I have found absolutely no background information on it. All we know is that it was presumably captured by a YouTuber called Anonymous Serial because they uploaded it, and that it was posted on August the 19th of 2012. The description also reads, "This video was recorded from an Android phone, making it ever more vague and spooky." Have a look. After analyzing this video, seeking more details, it becomes evident that it was captured within a home, and the person filming is quite young as far as I can tell. Furthermore, the ghost was rather relaxed compared to other ones that we have seen, because all it was doing was opening and closing the fridge, which is nothing too severe whatsoever. I do still hope that whoever recorded this video, from wherever place is okay though, and that they approached this situation and handled it in the correct manner. Luis was not the type to go around exploring haunted facilities for fun, but roughly 1 month after his mother passed away, he decided that he was going to give it a shot. She was buried inside of an old graveyard that was said to be riddled with paranormal activity, and she decided that she wanted her deathbed to be there. This is because she used the logic that if it was a really paranormal place, then the chances were she would become a ghost too, and her family supported her decision despite not being in complete agreement. Anyway, fast forward back to Luis. He came to the decision that he was going to visit the graveyard and see if anything mother-related happened. He went in blind with equipment, and this is what happened.
Mande dijo. Dijo mande. Dijo mande. ¿Hombre o mujer? O se escuchó un hombre. Pero también se escuchó una mujer. Soy Ruth, dijo. Dijo así, no soy Ruth. Oye, Ruth otra vez. Sí, a Ruth dijo. Mames, vete a la... Dijo mi nombre. Luis dijo. Para los que no saben, yo me llamo Luis. A la madre. Dijo mi nombre, plebes. Y no se lo pregunté. No mames. No. ¿Te llamas?
The spirit that was haunting him shortly before this particular clip somehow identified his name, and this led him to believe that it was the ghost of his mother. Furthermore, there was no cold energy around him, which was usually not the case when a poltergeist is present, meaning it must have been a friendly one at the bare minimum. Luis was scared of this presence, but knowing it may have been his mother, persisted through it, and was able to get us another piece of footage to watch.
Sí. ¿Quieres ayuda? Ruth. Sí. ¿Dónde estás? Dime dónde estás exactamente. ¿Dónde estás? ¿Dónde estás? Espera, se me está cayendo esta cosa que tengo. No sé cómo agarrar todo. Perdón, amigos, me está temblando mucho la mano. La busco entre tumbas. Ahí no quiero grabar esta tumba. ¿Dónde estás? Vete a la bestia. ¿Qué fue eso? ¿Hola? ¿Dónde estás?
This time he heard a sound from across the graveyard, and from the sounds of it, it very obviously was not a naturally occurring noise. It was as if something had fallen over. And listen up, because this is where things get interesting. The sound came from nearby to Louis' mother's grave, meaning that it may have been her causing this. He believes that to this day. The time was just 14 past midnight, and Antonio was home alone. His children were staying over at their grandmother's because the house was being renovated, and these renovations were happening above their bedroom, which would have made it impossible for them to sleep. Antonio and his wife were having a long, restless night, so at around 11:45, they decided to give up on sleeping and got back out of bed. It was on his way to the sitting room that Antonio came across something very peculiar, though. Have a watch.
Claudia,
The item moved on its own accord, and it was beyond obvious that there was nothing that could have been interacting with it. Upon several zoom-ins, I was unable to expose any invisible wire or any kind of force acting on the item. After the incident, Antonio took the item out to the trash and told his children that it had broken, promising to purchase them a new one the next time that he got paid. This turned out to be the correct move, because him and his family never noticed anything of the sort again. On December the 5th of 2024, Max and his wife heard some peculiar sounds coming from the guest bedroom. An important note to make before I proceed is that the couple had not had a child together, and they were the only two people living inside of the house, making it impossible for this to have been natural. The time was 1:45, and they had both been watching television in the sitting room when this happened.
Hey. Yeah. Did you hear baby crying? No, I opened the door. Oh, I thought that's why you opened the door. I heard it crying a long time in here.
Out of nowhere, the sound of a baby crying echoed around the entire house, and as I previously mentioned, they did not have any children living inside of the household. Max went inside of the room to investigate the scene, and the camera picked up something shocking following behind, a ghostly orb. This confirmed that the crying had been caused by some sort of spirit, and the family are currently in the process of eradicating it before it becomes too powerful, and it comes to the point where they take action too late. We wish them luck in this, and a priest would likely be the most cost-efficient approach. If you have ever watched a video from this channel before, then there is a 99.9% chance that you have heard of Ian, also known as the Midwest Ghost Hunter. He goes on all sorts of haunting adventures and posts really long videos stacked with clips to his YouTube channel, making it the perfect breeding ground for clips for this channel. The upcoming piece of footage came from a video where he visited a haunted asylum for a ghost hunt, and it definitely lived up to its name. Here is a clip from the video.
Whoa.
There's something in that photo. It looks like a figure peeking out of that room. Hello? Is there someone in there? I wonder if this is Lulu's room. I guess there's only one way to find out. Yep, there it is. Lulu, I think I just seen you peering out from your room. Were you watching me? Whoa! Whoa! She just started by! Oh my god! I literally just seen her bolt in here. She just went from right to left. And she ran over somewhere this way. Lulu, I know you're in here. Are you running around your room? Ooh. Whoa. Sorry. You just spooked me a little bit there. Are you making noise over here? Could you make another noise? Whoa. I'm trying to take a whole bunch of photos. I'm getting orbs. She is definitely in here. You have a very beautiful room, Lulu. Is that one of the cribs? The old cribs that you used when you were a mother? I'm very sorry about the horrible things that happened to you.
It was very obvious that someone or something was inside of the room with him, but whether or not it was who he referred to as Lulu or not is unknown information. What we do know is that despite seeing a figure peeking around the entrance, an orb flying across the room, and an unexplained noise, Ian pushed on through, showing just how brave he really is. Remember to subscribe for more haunting videos, especially considering Ian will be in a lot of them. In the following video, Miguel was showing his apartment on a video, and the reason behind this was very unorthodox. He was in contact with a ghost hunter regarding a spirit inside of his house, and he wanted help removing it. However, the hunter wanted undeniable evidence in order for them to not waste their time, so Miguel's mission was made clear. He needed to catch this spirit on camera. He waited until the time when most of things happened and took out his camera, which captured this.
Amigos, son las 1:26 de la madrugada y estoy solo. Ya van 3 veces que me tocan la puerta a mi casa y relativamente pues yo estoy solo, pero pues la verdad es que sí me da miedo. La neta no sé ni qué onda en mi casa y pues sí me da un chingo de miedo. Les juro. No mames, vete a la verga. No mames, no mames. No mames. Vete a la verga. No, neta, vete a la verga, vete a la verga. Se acaba de caer esta madre. No mames. No mames, no mames.
The Rhino fell from the storage cabinet to the ground and surprisingly didn't smash. It was made out of china and was hollow, so it made no sense as to how it survived the fall, which just adds to how spooky this video was. Furthermore, the fact that it landed on all fours showed that the situation was out of the ordinary because nothing of that sort can fall so perfectly. The video was sent to the ghost hunter and is pending review. We can only hope that Miguel receives the help he deserves. John Bailey Davies was an innocent teenager who was living his last year inside of his parents' house, and due to the fact that they worked a lot, he was left home alone. Whenever he was home alone, he would take his time operating a small-scale business that earned him around $1,500 per month. But whenever he finished with that, he would be free to play games. Over recent times, though, his gaming time has been interrupted by ghostly events, and when it started happening in this instance, he took it upon himself to start recording.
Welcome back to what is in my apartment while I'm home alone. Like, what could... Now, last time I didn't do this. I'm gonna open this door and it's gonna stop. I hate it.
Strangely, a series of footsteps could be heard from outside of his room, and due to this happening to him before he did not show any signs of thinking this was an intruder, he knew it was a spirit. In order to prove to the people watching the clip that it was real, though he left the room to investigate and found nothing. I dare you to try and find a natural solution in the comments, but for me, this is 100% a ghost sighting. After investigating the other room, he entered his again, hoping that he could at least sneak an hour into his day without any spiritual interruptions. This was a big ask considering how haunted his house truly was, but a man is allowed to dream, and dream he did. It's a shame his dream didn't become reality.
I'm the only one here right now. And as you can clearly hear, there's just someone out there.
Even more sounds came from outside of his room just 15 minutes later, and on top of this, the lights out there had turned themselves back on. This time, John did not buckle up the courage to investigate the situation and believed he had already showcased enough evidence towards this incident being a real one. You cannot blame him. I doubt a single one of you would be unfazed in a situation similar to this one. Cameras are some of the most useful devices out there and have many purposes. These purposes include catching crime and looking back on suspicious things that have happened within a place, and it is safe to say that a ghostly event is on the suspicious side of things. Kyle Anthony was in the sitting room with his wife one day when he received an alert from his camera app that there was strange activity going on in the attic. Concerned, he opened the app, and what he found was insane. Have a look.
Well, the camera in the attic finally recorded something. I am freaked out, and there's no way in hell I'm going up there. Oh my God. Somebody please tell me what the hell I'm supposed to do. I can't go up there. This shit is f***ing crazy.
The box was shaking aggressively, and there is absolutely no reason that something like this could actually happen without the aid of a spirit. Furthermore, Kyle has had experience with ghosts before in his past, so it makes sense that what he was experiencing was more of this. However, he decided that entertaining the ghost was not a smart idea, and unlike most victims, never contacted any professionals after the prior incidents. However, this next event would contribute to him changing that thought process. One thing that most viewers said after the clip I just showed you was that they saw an animal such as a bird or a rat that moved the box, and Kyle set out to disprove these claims in an all-new clip. The time was 1 a.m. when he went to investigate the attic.
Guys, it was not an animal moving the box. It was not a bird, it was not a rat, it was not a mouse, it was not a snake, it was not my cousin. It was a little star pendant. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm gonna go up there and show you. I'm gonna show you what it was. Sorry it takes me so long to get up this ladder. It's very rickety and I'm nervous. All right, see it? It was this little thing. This little thing. This was coming out. That's what people thought they saw. It wasn't a rat, it wasn't a snake, it wasn't a bird, it wasn't a mouse, it wasn't any of those things. That's what it was, okay? Gosh, dang it, I'm nervous to be up here. But I might as well have a look inside the box. It looks like things got to move around a little bit, but... Okay, and that's open. That's not fun. But we're going to finally implement somebody's suggestion. Check it out. Let's just have a look at that.
First of all, he showed the audience a star which was supposedly the root of all the animal rumors, and in fairness to Kyle, the star did perfectly line up with where the animal was. On top of this, instead of ignoring the spirit and quote-unquote not entertaining it, Kyle decided to follow a viewer's request and pour some form of substance onto the box. He expected it to frighten the spirit and cause it to flee the attic, but it had the opposite effect. A paranormal surge occurred, and not only did Kyle hear something within the attic, but when he went downstairs, all sorts were happening. He was right after all. He should not have entertained the spirit's ordeals, and rather let it be. All he had done was make the situation far worse than it already was, and show the poltergeist that it was in fact getting into his head. This was when he realized that he had already entertained and fueled the poltergeist, so he might as well go the full mile and get a ghost hunter into the property. Over the next week, Kyle contacted all sorts of ghost hunters seeking one that charged a reasonable price, until he eventually found one that charged $500, with a money-back guarantee if any more paranormal activity occurred within a year. Kyle snagged the deal and was ready for the hunter to arrive, but just 1 week before the ghost showcased its utter resentment.
We were just going to bed, and I noticed out the bedroom window right there that this light is flickering on and off. Here's anybody who thinks that I'm using fucking smart bulbs or something. I don't know if you can see it. Does that look like a smart bulb to you? Anyway, I'm gonna go look at the basement. Let's go look at the basement. Make sure there's nothing in the house. Y'all will see that nobody's flipping the breaker on and off. As you can see, if somebody was flipping the daggone breaker, these lights will be flickering too. Gosh dang it. Oh my god. Alright, let's go out there. See what's still happening. Did it stop? No, it's still going. It's still going. Look. It's still going. Look at it. Isn't that crazy? Oh, shit.
Strangely, the light bulb, which was clearly not able to be controlled by a mobile device, started to flicker on and off, and this raised the alarm bells for obvious reasons. Kyle went outside to check the scene, but this is when the doors closed behind him, confirming that this was an incident regarding the ghost, rather than a coincidence with the electricity. I wish Kyle the best on his ghost hunting visit, and hope the £500 spent becomes worthwhile. The following video was recorded in the house of Rosanna, and she has been a recurring victim of paranormal activity for a long time. It all started when her ex-boyfriend decided that it would be a good idea to visit a haunted house, and thinking it was fake, both of them were more than up for it. A lot of haunting stuff supposedly took place in this house, and they both ran back out of it as changed human beings. Little did they know that the spirit came with them, attaching to Rosanna in specific. This is the kind of stuff that she has to deal with nowadays. From the toilet seat, aggressively shaking to the door, locking her into her own bathroom, this was a horrific experience for Rosanna, but nothing abnormal for her. She was kind of used to the paranormal, but had never been locked inside of a room before, which is what gave her true fight due to her fear of enclosed places without an escape. Luckily, the exit opened, and she was able to make it out, but you can't help but feel terrible for her nonetheless. If you have ever watched this channel before, you will know who Ian, also known as the Midwest Ghost Hunter, is. He is a brave and courageous ghost hunter who doesn't let any spirit ruin his adventures, but this one came close. He was exploring an abandoned asylum that was deemed to be haunted by many. He was completely aware that the spirits in there had a lot of resentment towards humans because of how they were treated when they were alive, but they did not expect them to cause as much of a fright to him as they did. Take a look.
Oh, that would be phenomenal if you did. Seems like you agree. Dang, this thing's going off like crazy. I don't think I've ever seen this thing go off like this. All right, Doris, I'm gonna start looking around. Which doll are you gonna move? Ooh. Oh, okay, thank you. I heard that. Holy moly, which doll moved? I can't even tell. There's so freaking many of them. Which doll did you move, Doris? Could you move her again? I'm getting nervous. Use as much energy as you need. Dude, okay, I just saw that one. That one just moved. Holy moly, I got goosebumps all over. Oh God, I can't believe I just seen that. She just moved, all on her own. Thank you so much, Doris. I feel like she is staring into my soul right now. This is a beautiful doll. Is this one of your favorites? Whoa, what the f? Dude, her hair just moved. Holy moly.
She just caressed her hair. Oh, dude, I just saw that. She just went like boop to her hair. Holy crap. Okay, I take that as a yes. This is your favorite doll. Oh gosh, it is getting freaky in here.
Out of nowhere, the doll moved its dress, and this took Ian aback for obvious reasons. However, due to his experience, he was not fazed, rather just in a state of shock. Little did he know that the doll would move again, and this time, after he asked a question, which practically confirmed the ghost was in fact present. Subscribe for more haunting videos from Ian, as he is included in every video I publish. On a night of which Sophie was already going through something severe, a ghost decided to enhance it, and when you know the backstory, this is quite sad. Roughly 1 week prior to this incident, the grandmother of Sophie, Sylvia, passed away in a tragic car accident that ended the lives of 2 people. Sophie was extremely close to her grandmother, and she was way too healthy and careful to have passed away at such a young age. Regardless, it happened though, and people just had to deal with it. Little did any of them know that she would come and pay her granddaughter a visit though.
I keep closing this drawer and it keeps opening by itself. Did you just see that? There we go. There was an orb and now there's this. Look. Look. Me. I'm gonna try it again.
This was suspected to be an incident caused by her grandmother, and it would make a lot of sense if this was the case. Once Sophie realized that this was likely the case, she broke down into tears and lay on her bed for hours thinking about her. I think it is safe to say that more harm than good was caused from this visit. Toby went to sleep early one night and he paid the consequences because sleeping early usually results in waking up early. At 1 o'clock in the morning this happened, and he rolled out of bed wondering what time it was. When he realized, he knew he needed to get back into bed. However, despite being aware that he needed more rest, he was not tired and rather fancied something to eat, so went downstairs to start cooking. Little did he know that something abnormal would happen. Strangely, the lid for the pan started sliding across the tabletop on its own accord, and it was obvious that no visible force was acting upon it. Even in the case of an invisible string, it would not be possible because Toby was on the camera, and it was evident that he was not tugging anything. This was a very creepy evening for Toby, and one of which I severely doubt he will forget. The following video was captured by Dylan, and it was filmed during a job that he was not fond of in the slightest. His role was to clean his local restaurant, and he had 3 routine checkups. In the morning, he had to clean it. Throughout the day, he needed to maintain it, and in the evening, he had to clean it. Very demanding with very little pay. The video of which I am about to expose you to took place at 9 p.m. on an evening shift, and Dylan had been working for 2 hours to clean the place. There had been a children's birthday party, hence the balloons, and we all know the severity of mess that these parties can generate. This was the least of Dylan's concerns though. Have a watch.
Creo que mucho el huevo. 3:20 de la mañana. Bien, y siento como que están moviendo las weas, como que las corren. Corrieron los pocillos de la sopa. acá atrás se escucha como que le pegaran a weá, como que las movieran. Como que las movieran. Weón, está entero rígido acá. Ayer había grabado lo mismo, pero hoy día es como que... Weón.
Everything that you could have possibly thought of when you hear the word paranormal happened, and this was an extremely severe paranormal surge. For Dylan in specific, this was highly overwhelming, as he had never been face to face with something of this sort before, and it stayed with him for the rest of his life, with even the most subtle of mysterious incidents causing flashbacks. James lived by himself, and it is safe to say that there are many pros as well as many cons to this lifestyle. The pros include things such as peace, freedom, and the power to actually do what you want with the house. But in my personal opinion, the cons far outweigh them. From having to maintain the place on your own to being lonely at times when you need somebody with you, it mustn't be nice whatsoever. But none of these cons were the crucial ones to James. A paranormal entity was. The clip that I am about to expose you to shortly was taken because the tap started to turn itself on and off, and James wanted to document the phenomenon. Little did he know he was about to film something far more bizarre.
What the f***?
Whilst the actual clip played, I severely doubt you actually realized what had happened, but fortunately, James included it again at the end. Some sort of shadow figure peeked around the doorframe, and you'd be crazy to not be filled with fright after coming face to face with such a sight. A few commenters claimed that if you mess with the settings on the image to such as saturation, an eye and a nose appear, but I will let you guys test that for yourselves before coming back. After the incident, James came to the conclusion that the only thing he would do was upload it to social media, because he didn't want to anger the spirit by inviting a ghost hunter or a priest around to investigate. However, he was left questioning his decision the next night because the ghost did not seem to be the happiest of beings nonetheless. This time, instead of making the tap turn itself on and then off, the spirit decided it was going to have fun with the cabinet and continuously swung it open and closed. Just like last time, James took out his camera and started documenting the incident, in hopes that the poltergeist would not stop its act, and he was lucky that it didn't. He was now presented with a few choices. James had enough evidence to do something about the spirit, but there was the possibility that the person he hired to banish it failed, and he was left with an even more annoyed ghost. Reluctantly, the conclusion was that he should wait for one more thing to happen, and once it did, he would contact a ghost hunter who drove a decent bargain Provide 3 pieces of evidence and get 50% off. After a few days, the 3rd piece of evidence arrived.
Yo, what up? Ghost Golden Guns over here. And I'm going live right now because that's why. Hello? Hello? Is anyone there? What the fuck? What the fuck? Who is out? Oh my god. Oh my goodness, what the fuck? Hello, who is there? Oh my goodness, please stop. What the f? Please stop. Please stop. This is my house. Leave. Leave. This is my house. You're not allowed here. Leave. Oh my goodness. Hello. Oh my goodness.
Once again, everything the spirit did was inside of the kitchen, and it was starting to become increasingly obvious that this was the only place that the poltergeist could truly haunt. One interesting thing to pick up on, though, is the fact that this time around, it only caused mayhem when it was spoken to, rather than being unhinged. Perhaps this was some progress. The ghost was banished 1 week later, though, nonetheless, and James has not experienced anything similar to the sort since. Ghost hunting can be one of 2 things, a professional and paid job or a hobby. I can sort of understand those who do the task professionally, because it is a very high-paying role for what it is, and the sheer amount of money is probably worth a small fright. However, I cannot bring myself to get behind those who do this simply for fun, because why would you put yourself in paranormal situations for the sole reason of entertainment? It just doesn't sit right with me. The duo in the video that we are about to watch next were visiting a haunted woodland for leisure, and what they found was extraordinarily rare. With that said, have a close look at what they were able to witness.
I'm excited. I just saw something. I've never seen anything like it in my entire life.
Some might call this the most compelling paranormal evidence ever captured on film.
This is Sam and Mike with Viper Paranormal. We're here on the Cruci property. It's January 29th, about 10:45 p.m. My name is Mike. This is my friend Sam. Hello. We don't mean any disrespect. We're only here to learn and communicate. This may be your last opportunity to communicate with anyone.
Right when you asked that last question, the camera just died.
Really? Was it charged?
Yeah, it was fully charged. I mean, I K2, check the K2.
Something over there? I haven't seen anything, bro.
Dude, something moved over there, I swear.
Whoa! Where's it at?
Unlike most ghost sightings where people are only able to see a few objects moving, these guys were able to capture a spirit in the flesh. The transparent figure glided across the camera to the left of the screen, and they were both quick to give chase. From this point forwards, nothing else happened, which made the situation very questionable, but what they saw was more than enough for the day. It isn't often that sightings this prominent are found. On February the 23rd of 2025, a security camera caught something gobsmacking. The sighting was similar to that of the last video, except nobody saw it in the flesh, so the spirit must have thought it went under the radar. It happened at 11 o'clock at night, and nobody in the household was awake. This would not last, though, because the father and mother of the house were woken up by their dog barking, and curious at what was happening, they checked their cameras to see this. Strangely, a transparent figure could be seen outside of the house, and somehow the dog was able to detect it. This is because animals can supposedly see light patterns that we cannot, but I believed that this was a rumor rather than a matter of fact. In the following video, Martin Dickey and his wife Jenny were both operating inside of their kitchen when something happened that took them both off guard. In the corner of his eye, Martin noticed that the cap for the jug of milk was moving on its own accord, but it was so surreal that he couldn't believe his own eyes. He took out his camera and began to film the incident when this happened.
Right, there's nothing touching this milk bottle at all. Oh my god. Oh my god. This empty milk bottle lid is moving on its own. That is up. Do it again. Come on. Come on. Yes! Yes! There it is!
What is it?
I don't know! I have no idea what that is. That is absolutely crazy. There's nothing on or around this bottle. Are you doing it, Fizz?
How could I be doing it?
Just do it again. That is freaky stuff. Any more? Any more?
What do you think it is? Is it a ghost?
I can't work it out.
There's some air traps, isn't there? Then there's probably some sort of duct that's pulling it up here.
Is that on though? The duct isn't
I don't
on.
know. I just can't imagine what else it would be.
It's kind of stopped now. We got it though.
The cap continued to do its thing, moving as if it was being manhandled. Both of them tried their hardest to forge a logical solution, and Jenny came up with the idea that it was to do with the air above, although they both knew that this wouldn't have made this happen. Other than that, there are no real reasons other than the presence of a paranormal entity that I can get behind. The man in this next clip is called Jack, and he has featured in a large number of videos on my channel. This is because he has uploaded many haunted findings to his social media page on TikTok, and they are too good to not include. Jack experiences things of paranormal nature a lot because he collects antique items, and there is a direct correlation between these items and poltergeist activity. At first, things were okay for him, but as time went on, he slowly began to realize that something must have entered his house because odd stuff started happening, and the video that I am about to expose you to is when he managed to catch it all on camera.
Okay, I've just started filming because I fell asleep on the couch and woke up to what felt like somebody stroking the side of my face, which made me jump awake, but I don't know if it was a dream, but then the room is icy cold and just the noises coming from the kitchen. Hello? Hello? Can you hear that? It's coming from outside, well, the kitchen there. Hello? god. The candlestick and the door's just bloody opened. What the hell? Hello? Oh my god. It makes you nervous to fall asleep on the couch, it really does. It's horrible. Is anybody out there? Shit! What the fuck? That's just hit my leg? What the fuck? Oh. Sophie, okay? The cat's just legged it as well. Oh my god. What is going on in here? What? Just sound like somebody sat down on the fucking chair. Fuck this, fuck off. I'm going in the garden. I'm not staying in here.
All sorts of things happened here, and I will give it to you non-believers. In isolation, these events could definitely have a natural cause, but when paired together, it would be too coincidental for them all to happen within a 3-minute time span. Furthermore, the fact that the room went cold also signals that there was a haunting presence there, and this is something that Jack is going to work on banishing from his home, so we wish him luck. Not many people can stay calm in the midst of ghostly activity, so we really have to give credit to the girl who filmed this video. Somehow she was able to stay really composed and give a clear narrative, despite how frightening the situation must have been, and I can admire that. The time was 3 p.m, and Chloe was with her sister in the kitchen when they noticed the spice rack spinning around without any visible force interacting with it. She started recording in hopes that it would continue, and sure enough, it did.
I think he's after some spices now. He's in the fucking kitchen. I think he's just having a look. Oh no! Oh! Oh, I think he's having a read of them. Hello? Hello? I think he's dropped a few spices. You might want to clean them up.
Not only did the spice rack keep on spinning, but the dustpan also decided it was going to have a mind of its own. It started to swing from left to right, and I am surprised Chloe stayed calm in this situation. She showed the clip to her parents when they rose from bed the next day, and they sent it to a local ghost hunter. They now have a date booked, and it is looking like the house will be cleansed.